so much for joining me, Kylie, for this really important conversation. I know you've got a lot of experience and a lot of info to share. And as you know, our aim is to just provide information and share member experiences with the upcoming SGMs, just to give people, the real stories of why we need to, or why they need to vote for the changes that we're recommending.
Yep.
So maybe if you want to start just giving us a brief background of you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Sarah. So yeah, I've been with Wires for about the last 7 years, and I joined Wires because I've always loved animals. It's just been an absolute passion of mine as long as I can remember, and I don't like people much. So it was yeah. So yeah, it was just something that I could give back, volunteer with, and something that I've always enjoyed. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's where I'm at.
And do you have a specialty?
Um, Flying foxes. At the moment,
Ah,
I do basically everything. But mainly, yeah, I love flying foxes and echidnas. They are just the most amazing animals. So,
okay.
and
They're
kangaroo,
they're
bit of
very cute.
everything. I've done possums, kangaroos. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. All right. Well, let's go with whatever we want to talk about.
All right. Well, I think when I started with the branch, um, I find with a lot of new members, people are really scared, especially when you do the RIC course and that, and you learn to rescue animals, but they're always on toys and things like that. Like these things move, these things bite.
Yeah.
So it's always good if you can get a mentor. I've had a
Yes.
mentor since I first started, and I've had her the whole time. And she's just been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, she's been caring for wildlife even before Wires started. So it's been a really good experience with her, and then with some of the other members that I've met too that have had sort of they have their specialties and I can call on them, but they're very far and sort of few between.
Mm. And mentorship's super important for anyone, particularly a newbie.
Mentorship, I think, is a really big part of, especially being a newbie, and the older members because they're getting on in age and things. They're the greatest to have. They sort of yeah. Some have home remedies that work, and it's always good to have a difference of opinion,
Mm.
especially if you don't know sort of what's wrong with them and things like that. It's always good to learn and yeah, different techniques, especially when you've got to subcut flying foxes and things like that on how you can hold them and
And
yeah.
you never really stop learning, do you? Like it's just a collaborative effort and sharing information and that you there are different ways to do things.
There is,
Um,
and you've got to find your own way,
yeah.
especially with rescues, because you sort of never know what you're going to turn up to.
Yes. Yeah. And that's is that a big part of what you do?
Yes,
Mm.
yeah, really big part of what we do with rescues, and that yeah, you never know what you're going to find.
Mm.
Um, you'll have someone. I think one of the funniest stories I heard from my mentor was that they got a call out for an eagle, and it ended up being a rooster.
Oh,
So,
that's that's interesting. How do you get those two animals confused?
yeah, I'm not sure. I've done a pouch check on a deteriorating joey kangaroo that was yeah decomposed. It was sort of some people
Mm.
have some weird ideas, but
Yeah, interesting. Gosh.
some
Oh.
of the fun things we do, yeah. So
One thing you and I have chatted about is the experience that you had during the Black Summer bushfires. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
yeah, well, that was a really challenging time, I think, for everybody, people and animals alike. My eldest son was actually in that fire. He was part of the RFS and fighting that. So, sort of having that in the background of my mind, worrying about him and my community up there as well. So, I was volunteering and helping take donations up, food and things like that for the people that were up there. And then I got reprimanded for being there because I wasn't, as a wise person, which I wasn't, I was just there volunteering, helping my community. So I got reprimanded for being there in the first place because I wasn't insured. And
Even though
then
you were doing it as a community volunteer, not a wise volunteer.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Yep.
I wasn't allowed to be there.
Yep.
And then it became, a friend of mine had a lot of old cages and things that I took up, and I left them there for people if they came across an injured animal.
Mm-hmm.
And I got reprimanded for that one as well, because how dare I put cages there in case people decided to keep the animals, which which really sort of shocked me, because these people, most of the people up there lost everything, houses, the whole lot. I mean, they're flat out, they couldn't even feed themselves. How are they going to look after a wild animal? So yeah, I sort of got reprimanded for that. Then I asked for food from my branch, if I could have food and that to take up there, because there were areas that weren't burnt that animals were congregating to, and I was told no. So I went and got it out of my own pocket, and they found out about that, and then I got reprimanded again. Yeah,
For buying food for the animals out of your own money.
pocket. Yeah. So
Okay.
so because they wouldn't supply any. So yeah, it's sort of, yeah, I got into a lot of trouble over them, over that one in the
Yeah, that's
fires.
sad. That's really sad.
And yeah, and it's heartbreaking and it's discouraging. And especially when there's no reasons given. You know, even after the fires settled down, there was still nothing given to take up there for these people, for the animals. Yeah, there was. So, but there were two lovely ladies up there from Black Mountain that actually organised people from around Australia that were turning up with trailer loads of wildlife food. And
wow, amazing.
oh, they did an awesome job. Awesome job.
That's
So
so
yeah, and
cool.
hay for cattle, and they just organised everything. So
Yeah.
even without wires, yeah, we survived.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah. So yeah, that was a bit of a kick in the guts, but yeah, keep on going. You know,
Yeah.
it's all about the animals. It's got nothing to do with personalities or people. They can try and shoot you down and get you not to talk to other people, but that's all right. I still
Yeah,
do.
because communication's been a big issue, from what we've been hearing, in terms of head office have discouraged communication between carers and branches, which
They have.
doesn't seem logical at all.
No, well, I picked up a flying fox yesterday. Now, we don't have any flying foxes in care here, so I've had to contact another branch, and they've got them in care. So he will be transported tomorrow down to them because they work better together.
Yeah.
But yeah, they try to discourage that a lot, and I don't know why, because you know, we're all in it for the same reason. The carers are. We're here because we're here for the animals.
And you love what you do, and open
Oh,
communication is what's needed, isn't it?
it is. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, doing that. And then I guess coming to like now, I'm in trouble yet again for defamation for speaking out on behalf of Reclaim Wires. And I chose Reclaim Wires and what they had to say because I've read the constitutions. Now, I know they brought out the marked up constitution that they gave to people, which was from the 2008 one, I think they had. Well, I got the new constitution. Yay! This is their one that they pushed through illegally.
Okay.
Illegally, they pushed this one through, and it's nothing like the marked up one. There's nothing in it about branches. There's nothing like how are we supposed to work as a branch, what they expect from branches, about communication from branches to the corporation. There's nothing in there.
Interesting.
It's I found that very interesting. And the gift fund, well, they're supposed to have a committee for the gift fund. There is no committee, and a minimum of 3 people, and put in by directors. Most of this constitution, and yes, people, you can get it online, you can get it at the Wires webpage, is all about directors and directors' rights and roles and whatever else. But to have nothing in there about the grievance policies, really, for members, for us volunteers, we're volunteers. Yeah. And at times we have personality clashes and whatever, be it with your execs, with another member, and there's nothing. And you don't, and the policies and procedures they have, they don't follow.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's really any true avenue for conflict resolution.
No, there's
according
not.
to what according to the feedback that we've had from members.
No, there hasn't been.
And that's an integral part of any organisation, because you're not going to agree with everybody, and you're going to have personality clashes. So to have those processes in place and accessible and supported, is crucial.
Well, yeah, I've been reported to head office in the past, and I brought it up to the branch about it, and it was only a verbal complaint. So I've asked head office about, I want it in writing, because that's what it says. I never got anything in writing. My branch had meetings about my misconduct or conduct or whatever, because I still don't know today what it was really about.
Really? So you never got anything in writing to explain that?
No, nothing. Not ever.
That must make you feel terrible.
It did. Yeah. It did. It really made me feel, it was heartbreaking. It was really gut-wrenching, and it's really hard on your mental health.
Yeah, I bet it is.
When you've got these things lingering over your head, and one person will say something and then someone else will say something different about a meeting they had about me, and I'm like, well, can I see the minutes? Oh, we haven't got any minutes. And it's like, so, and who do you believe? I've got these different people ringing me and talking to me and saying all different things and contradicting each other. So yeah, it was.
It sounds like bullying and intimidation in a nutshell.
And that's how it felt. That's how it felt.
Yeah. And yet you're still in it, and you still love what you're doing, which is amazing.
Yeah, I do. And I try to keep my nose clean. That doesn't work. Because I still speak up. So when I went into the constitutions and I listened to the Zoom meetings, I did the 3 Zoom meetings for the constitution changes, the 4, the one for A, the one for B, listened to the arguments, read everything, and then I got to understand it, and that's why I became part of Reclaim Wires. And then I started sending emails to my branch. So I had a lovely phone call to suggest that I keep my mouth shut and do not say anything about Reclaim Wires. Otherwise, it was a huge possibility that I would not be receiving animals in care.
Wow, so you actually got a threat?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I sent another email and told everyone that I was threatened, and I'm still doing it anyway. So
yeah, just for sharing information and getting people to, have a look through both sides. That's what this is about, isn't it? Like,
it is.
Look at both options and make a really informed decision based on the information that's available, rather than listening to the outside noise and the propaganda which is coming from Protect Wires, whoever they are.
Yeah, whoever they are.
Yeah.
And transparency. Where's the transparency in that?
Yeah.
There isn't any. They're not accountable for what they do. If we go by their policy and procedure on the media and social media and all that, they've actually brought Wires into disrepute.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to, and they're sponsored, which means they're getting money for their page. And it's supposed to be an education page, and that's what it states, and yet it's all about this in-house fighting.
Mm,
and it's public.
mm.
So could you, I know if I was someone in the public reading that, it'd be like, no, no, just wipe your
Yeah,
hands.
well, it's pretty
It,
nasty from what I've seen. And I don't know. It's it's not the way that we want to handle things. We're trying to be constructive and get people to really consider this seriously because the ultimate aim is to bring the organisation back to a member-led, member-centric organisation where members feel supported, they feel heard, they feel respected, and there is open communication and transparency. And if there are changes to be made, then they're involved in those changes and they're brought along in this whole process and feel like they're a part of it rather than just being told that this is the direction we're taking and you either accept it or you don't.
yes, and that's what they do. And um, when, and I was always taught, when someone wants to push through things that aren't really legit, it's baffle them with BS. And that's what head office has done.
Mm.
You read these emails, they don't make sense. I received an email, I think all members received an email from a person that wanted information, wanted all our information, but didn't say why they wanted it. So I received an email back today to say that they wanted it so they could send out information about protect wires.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't in the original email. Vote for the Constitution, vote for their Constitution. We're making tweaks. What tweaks are you making?
Yeah, because none of
You,
that's clear. It's all very confusing, isn't it?
it is very confusing. And they're not mentioning, we've got to make some changes here, changes there. But if you don't vote yes, this is what will happen.
And they're not allowed
But
to say that either with these upcoming SGMs. They're not allowed to say anything other than this is, the proposed meeting date, time, blah, 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 and give the information. They're not supposed to comment on the fact that if you don't vote a certain way, these are the ramifications.
yeah,
As an organisation, they're not supposed to. Like,
no,
we're saying that because we're trying to explain, or get through the noise and
yes,
confusion and make it clear to people the implications of voting either way.
yeah. And how can you trust someone that's not transparent? They're not clear with what they're writing. It is very blasé, very blasé. It's just, how can anyone trust that?
Yeah.
And the gift fund is supposed to be transparent. It's not. Read it in the Constitution, guys. It is in there. It is in there. Constitution B that they do not have to be transparent with the funds. The funds were given for a reason. The Red Cross got hammered with all the money they got from the bushfires. They spent that in 2 years. We still have over $70 million sitting there that didn't go to the animals, that didn't go to the carers that were out in the bushfires fighting, food.
And are still struggling since, many of them. Yeah.
Yes,
Because you had to fund your own echidna enclosure, didn't you? Despite the fact that
yes,
you asked for funding.
yes, yes. I've
Mm.
asked for it. Yeah, I've done my own echidna pen. I've made my own kangaroo enclosures. New people, depending if you toe the line or not, depends what you get and if you get anything. So if you don't ask questions, okay,
Yeah, so they
you're good.
definitely support some people, but it
Yes,
seems to be
a
selective.
very selective and a very select few. A
Mm.
very select few.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the way they portray it. And it's sad. Just like with our branch at the moment, a member left, one of the exec positions. We haven't had a secretary for ever. And they just swap and change. We still do not have a secretary, but they swap and changed it. And we got an email from them just stating that, and I got the email here too, just stating that these are the positions and the rearranging that we've done. They've stacked it, of course.
And there was supposed to be a vote on that, wasn't there, Kylie? And they just decided to appoint who they wanted to appoint rather than going through the constitutional due process
Correct.
and letting members vote, members of that branch vote.
Yeah, or even put their hand up and say, hey, I'd be interested in doing that just until the AGM. And they just sent it out and said, well, these are the positions that are filled. It was supposed to be, then head office got involved and said that these were only
interim positions.
Interim positions and not official. They actually stated that they are not official, holding official positions. Now, we were never told that in our emails. So yeah, and I've written back to head office, the member from the members section, one of the members section. I wrote an email to her a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still waiting on response to why it was done that way. See, and again, policy, procedures, constitutions not followed. Everything's just to suit themselves.
Yeah, it seems to be that way.
And that's not how you run any organisation.
No, it's
and
not great leadership, really, is it? Like, there's so much that can be improved.
There could be
from the top down, of course.
Of course, like I would have had more faith in the top when, instead of spending money and getting barristers and doing this and doing that, just gone, okay, yep, we stuffed up. How can we improve?
Yes.
But they're not improving. They're just knuckling down and sending out more misinformation, not complete information, and just confusing people.
Yeah.
And then making the threats at the end of it, saying, well, if you don't vote this way, this is what's going to happen. We won't be with ASIC anymore. We won't be this. We won't be that. How do they know?
And I think, full credit to you for taking the time, because I'm sure you don't want to be doing it, nor does anybody, for really having to analyze these constitutions and look at the whole situation so that you can make the right decision. The first vote being on Monday.
Yes.
For the first SGM. So there's now 3.
Yep.
Two called by wise and one called by one of the members.
Yes.
But yeah, to take the time to read through constitutions, which is a lot to absorb anyway.
Oh yeah,
it's really what people need to do to be fully informed. But or input like yours is really important because you've done that work and you can see where the flaws are in all of this, and what needs to be done to change things for the better, which is ultimately going to improve things for our wildlife, who this is all about anyway.
Well, that's right. The focus has totally come off of wildlife.
Yes. Seems to be that way.
And they're suffering. And they are suffering.
Yeah.
The more bullying and that goes on, people not being listened to, they don't want to do anything because they get reprimanded. We're volunteers. We are all volunteers. Our execs, our species coordinators are supposed to be there to support us, to support the volunteers and say, hey, all right, let's help. You've got this problem. How can we resolve it? Instead of just going, you're no good.
Or you need to keep quiet and not communicate.
Yeah.
Have you lost members from your branch over time?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. So that must put even more of a burden on you.
Yeah, we've got a handful of people. I think there's about 4 people from Iluka down to, where do we go, Glenray or whatever, that do flying foxes. They're a big one. Everyone jumps at the koalas, everyone jumps at the kangaroos, but it's the other animals that they sort of and I think what we need is to get these hierarchy out, because they've all got the same agenda, and that is just to knuckle down and turn this into a corporation.
Mm,
It's all about, and it's in the Constitution, it's all about the environment, saving the environment
mm.
for the animals. Research. We're not about research. We're about rescuing and rehabilitating and trying to get these animals back out there
And,
and educating people.
and supporting the
And
volunteers who are doing the work 24/7
yeah,
in all of the ways that they should be supported.
yeah, and not
Yeah.
crucified.
Yeah.
Not crucified because how dare we say something that they don't like.
Mm. So what would you like to see at these SGMs and moving forward for wires?
I would like to see support for membership for the members and the volunteers, and I mean proper support. Somewhere where we can be open, honest, sit down, have an adult conversation, and not nitpick because of attitude or
Mm.
personality differences. I want to see transparency in all of that as well. Follow it. Write your letters. Do this, do that. Don't leave it for months and then all of a sudden throw it at you again. I want to see transparency in the gift fund. There's no transparency, and they don't have to. In the Constitution, it states they do not have to be transparent in what they spend that money on.
Mm.
That gift fund was for the bushfires, and it never really got there. I'd like to see it go to the smaller people, the folk. You know, they're talking about we want to keep it. Reclaim Wires wants to keep it for themselves and for the volunteers and all this sort of thing. There's a lot of volunteers out there that have spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars on their own enclosures.
Great point.
You know, I'm one of them that's probably spent about $20,000 over the years to do my different pens and enclosures and things like that. They don't get help because they don't fit in their little niche.
And I think it's important to emphasize that nobody gets into this expecting to be reimbursed because it is a voluntary role.
That's
But
correct.
the fact that that money was donated for you as members to assist you, and it it's available, and it was a lot of money, over $100 million.
Dollars.
You
Yeah.
would expect that the organization would pass that on as it was intended because they could have to
They,
support the whole community. And we're not just saying that it should stay in New South Wales. That's never
that's,
been said by
no, it
Reclaim
hasn't.
Wires because, you know, the wildlife is all over the country. Absolutely support
That's
everybody
it.
because you can.
And those bushfires started just on the other side in Imboida and went right down to Victoria. So we're not, yeah, it's got nothing to do with that. I think what members get annoyed with is when you go and give $1 million to the Taronga Park platypus conservation thing. They've already got over $83 million and they're government funded.
Yes.
They're funding research to universities and things like that. Friends of Koalas in Lismore, they didn't get anything from Wires, and we use them all the time. We've got Byron Bay Wildlife Hospital that they never donated to.
Yeah, that's
But,
a big one. The
you
fact
know,
that they don't support them and they don't support Wild Talk, which is the sector specific counselling service, which is, I mean, Francis has been working for years doing counselling since before the fires, in fact. And yet Wild Talk doesn't get any funding, and yet she continues to offer this free service. Like things like that.
that's
Super
right.
important
It is.
because mental health is such a big issue
Oh,
with the
mental health.
trauma that you experience and the the gravity of this voluntary role.
And
Super important.
it is, and we need to find better ways to help some of these animals when they're in pain.
Yes.
You know, um, we're not allowed Valium and things like that. We need to come up with something, especially like the flying foxes, your kangaroos that are stuck. Barbed wire is horrible.
Mm.
And what sticks with me is that I went and grabbed a grey-headed flying fox off barbed wire, and I thought she was dead because she was nearly decapitated. Her head was nearly off. She was still breathing. And I couldn't do anything to stop that pain
Yeah.
or to put her out of her misery on that fence.
Mm.
and they say we've got to reduce pain, reduce stress, but don't use anything. We're not going to give you anything, but you have to reduce stress. How can you reduce stress? And when people see this day in, day out, and a lot of people join and think we're saving these animals, this is great. The majority of them get euthanized.
Yes.
Because we get them because they're sick, they're injured, they're orphaned. We don't get them because they're in great condition and we can let them go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that takes a lot out of your mental health.
Yeah, I bet it does. It's a huge toll.
And rural areas, we don't have the vets available. We don't have 24-hour vets.
Wouldn't it be great if there was a telehealth kind of setup where you could call a vet and, ask for advice or get an assessment via telehealth if one wasn't available or it was, 3 hours away. That's the sort of thing that we're talking about too.
Yeah, and it'd be great. That would be great. We've got this, welfare team that are supposed to look after the animals that have no idea about native animals.
Yeah, because most of them are from the RSPCA.
Yes. Why aren't they vets?
Good question.
Why can't we have vets as the welfare team?
Yes.
That know about animals,
that would be
know
amazing.
about the different things that happen with animals, their behaviors.
Such a good suggestion.
It's just these little things that people don't see.
There's so much to fix, isn't there?
Oh, isn't there? Isn't there? But it's just, if the top really believed in wise, then they would have started trying to listen to people and try to fix it rather than dig their feet in and crucify people for doing it.
Well, Kylie, good on you again. Thank you so much for everything you do and the fact that you're so positive about wanting to, be a part of this change and continue in your voluntary role despite the lack of support. And hopefully that's going to flip around as well. So, if the changes do happen that we hope to see, then it'll end up that there is a whole lot more support on every level, financial, emotional, physical, all of those things.
Yeah. Support.
Yeah. So go get educated, right? About all
get
of this.
educated. And if you don't want to get educated, don't vote. Don't listen to Joe blogs with their stories.
Yeah.
Because that's just detriment. That is detriment. If you don't understand, don't do it.
Yeah.
Or ask questions from both sides. Ask questions.
Yeah, because there are plenty of people who are happy to give information without any judgment.
Yeah, no judgment, no picking sides. We just tell you how it is.
Yes. Yeah, great points.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That's amazing.
Thanks heaps, Sarah, for having me again.
No worries. Happy to talk anytime.
Thanks, you take care.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.